Words that we all know and that have become more iconic than ever this year. Od lo avda tikvatenu. We have not lost our hope, of course, from the Hatikvah. We sing it all the time, but it's interesting to think of them in the context in which those words were written. They were not written as a national anthem. What was the meaning of the words before they took on the attributed meaning sung by a nation in distress? They were written by a European Jew named Naphtali Herz Imber. He was born in the 19th century in Galicia, in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He was a Hebraicist. He was an itinerant, almost like a beatnik poet. And he traveled from Hungary to Serbia to Romania to Ottoman Palestine. He went to Beirut to learn the art of watchmaking, and then back to Palestine. He hung out in Haifa and Jerusalem and England and Paris and Berlin and Bombay, writing about the Jewish condition wherever he was, undulating from elation to despair. And he died actually penniless in New York. And like nearly every literary Jewish figure from that era, he was steeped in biblical texts, even though he was not personally religious. But it was the poem he began writing in 1877 in Romania, and then got published in 1882 in his first book of poems, that became famous, became the heartbeat of the Zionist movement, and eventually, almost 40 years after his death, became the national anthem. What did he mean by the Od Lo? We haven't yet. My friend Rabbi David Ingber feels strongly, can't prove it, that his use of Od Lo, not yet, was an intentional inversion of a verse from the 60th chapter of Isaiah, from the Haftarah we read on Ki Tavo a few weeks ago. And these are words that ache with modern associations that could not have been imagined by the Bible, I promise you. The sentence in Hebrew is Lo yishama od, that's the lo od, Hamas be'artzecha. There'll be no more Hamas in your land. In biblical Hebrew, Hamas truly just means violence. It's God prophesying through Isaiah a messianic vision of peace. It's an overwhelming coincidence, but just a coincidence, that today that verse prophesies that which we all hope for, that there will be no more Hamas in our land. And Imber hears the echo of Lo Od, there will not be, and he reverses it to Od Lo. We haven't yet. We haven't yet lost our hope. And many believe that Imber connected the 60th chapter of Isaiah, Lo Od, to the famous 37th chapter of Ezekiel, the vision of the dry, dead bones coming to life. A metaphor for a people trampled and wounded and left for dead that still somehow have life in them. Ezekiel says that he's heard that these bones, which represent Israel, are beyond resuscitation. Ve'avda tikvatenu. That's Ezekiel. Their hope is lost. And Naphtali Herz Imber, who walked the Jewish world from east to west and saw the aftermath of pogroms, but also the rebirth of Jewish life in the land of Israel, and also the thriving of Jewish communities in the United States, he writes, he mandates, Lo avda tikvatenu, Od lo avda tikvatenu. He weaves Isaiah and Ezekiel together. No more becomes not yet. These bones have life in them. It's our job to give them life. We're about to blow the shofar. And what is really the meaning of the shofar? Maybe everything we think we know about it is wrong. A shofar is a horn detached from an animal. The horn was once alive, connected to a pulsating, breathing body. And by the time we get to it on Rosh Hashanah, it's like one of Ezekiel's bones. It's dead. It's dried out and desiccated. And like the God of Genesis, we blow the breath of life into it, and we say, we are not dead yet. This dry bone becomes the music of the Jewish people every year. With every breath we blow in, we trumpet the triumph of life. It's the sound and the spirit that kept us alive after expulsion after Inquisition, after the pogroms of Kishinev and the Arab massacres of the 1920s and 1948 and 1967 and the Yom Kippur War and October 7th. Except that October 7th is not over. The day of October 7th has been the longest Jewish year in history. From what we think we know, there are 101 hostages left in Gaza. We hope that many of them are alive. All of them are far from home. And we have an obligation on Rosh Hashanah to blow the shofar 100 times. 100 mandates. 100 songs to bring life, to breathe life back to the Jewish people. Today we're going to add 101st. We're going to add our ode. Add our pronouncement that Od lo avda tikvatenu, that we have not lost our hope. And we will hope that that sound carries over lands and oceans to the ears and the hearts of those who are in captivity. So as we enter the shofar service, we're going to sing the blasts and hear the blasts of the normal set we do now. And after the first Tekiyah Gedolah, we're going to do another Tekiyah Gedolah, so that by the time our day is over, we will have done not 100 blasts of the shofar, but 101. May the captives return soon and speedily with life breathed back into them. Amen.